A second edition of a book titled In Plain Sight was launched on August 27, 2024 in Mekelle, Tigray. The book, authored by Sally Cable, Dr. David Kasa, Rita Kahsai, and Rowena Kahsai, provides an in-depth account of the struggles and stories of survivors of sexual violence during the war on Tigray and the fight for justice. In the book launch, one of the authors and the former Minister of Development in the UK government, Sally Cable, revealed the devastating stories of sexual violence during the war on Tigray as a profound inspiration of the book.
Well, the inspiration really came out of the complete shock and horror that everyone must have felt in seeing and hearing the stories of the women who were affected by conflict-related sexual violence during the war.
Another author of the book, Rita Kahsai, noted on the significance of the documenting the stories of sexual violence victims. She highlighted that capturing and sharing those narratives is essential for revealing the profound pains experienced by the victims and advocating for their rights.
The key message is to document the what happened to the women of Tigray, and then to advocate for justice for the women of Tigray.
The third author and humanitarian who worked with Tigrayan refugees in Sudan, Dr. David Kasa, expressed a harsh sense of the situations in the Tigrayan women in the Sudan refugee camp.
I have been working in the refugee camp for almost 2 years, and I have been engaging with survivors of conflict-related sexual violence in the hospital I was working in. The situation is very significantly dire, not only for the survivors but for the general refugees.
A participant in the book launch, coordinator of the one-stop service for survivors of the sexual violence in Eider Comprehensive Specialized Hospital, Mulu Kahsai, explained the timelines of the book launch, considering the degree of severity of the miseries the victims of sexual violence are facing currently. She calls for the international community to exert their efforts to bring justice for the victims of the sexual violence sooner to facilitate their healing.
The sexual violence which has happened in Tigray is very difficult and complicated. Book this timely. This book is written on time. It's timely because still now we couldn't get justice. If there is, this is the tips of the iceberg. The book, I think, as my consideration, this is the tip of the iceberg because Tigray happens a lot of tragic events happen, especially related to sexual violence. If every person are written about the situation, what happened in women and girls in Tigray, justice will be restored properly.
Sally, who has previously collaborated on the book addressing sexual violence with her colleagues, stressed on the urgent needs for collaborative efforts and address the issues of the sexual violence against the women in Tigray.
And I think the collaboration has been very important because each person has brought different things. There's been the collaboration, the input from people who saw the outset of the conflict and input from people who dealt with the post-conflict period. I think most important of all, perhaps, is the authenticity of the testimonies and making sure that if you don't talk about people, you give them a platform so they can talk for themselves.
A panel discussion on the honors of sexual violence initiated by the Europe and NINA Civil Society was held in line with the book launch. The panel brought together experts and advocates to discuss on the impact of sexual violence on individuals and communities. The event was aimed to raise awareness, to promote healing, and advocating for the stronger measure to combat sexual violence.